Hello, my friends. Welcome to the little greenhouse miniature craft. It's gonna be so fun. All right, so we have all these fun, amazing little bits and pieces here for our little greenhouse. It's going to be so cute. I'm so excited. All right, so in your little kit here, you have this little piece of plastic. This is called acetate. You're gonna go ahead and you're gonna fold that in half. That's gonna be the little roof. I know it's clear, so it's very hard to see in the camera here, but you're gonna fold it in half so that it makes a little roof shape, okay? Like that. All right, we'll set that to the side. Then our little piece of cardboard here, this is lightweight chipboard. There's all these little lines on here, and these are called score lines. I don't even know if you guys can see those in the camera, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna fold on those lines, and we're gonna kind of create this shape, okay? So the two top little tabs are folded out, then down, then across, then up, then out, right? So that's kind of the shape we're kind of going for there, okay? So once you have that and that, you're gonna set those to the side. We're gonna come back to those in just a little bit. All right, next thing we need to do is cut out all of our little leaf shapes. We're gonna be making 4 plants. We're going to be making a little sprout. We're going to be making a big leafy plant, a little curlicue plant, and a little succulent. So I've had a number of people in this week to make the little plants, and some people had these amazing ideas. So we are gonna do one of those ideas because I just loved it. You're gonna cut a little strip of the green paper, of the kind of the Kelly green, and what you're gonna do is you're actually gonna cut all these little triangles out of it. So then that way you have a strip that's just a whole bunch of triangles that are all attached. Oh gosh, as I say that, I accidentally cut a little bit too deep there, but we want there always to be little triangles, so it's kind of like a little grassy, we're gonna call it like a little grassy border, is what it's gonna kind of look like. All right, so that's kind of what we're going for. All right, we're gonna go all the way down to the end. Okay, so once you have that, what you're gonna do is you're just gonna kind of roll it up. Oh gosh. And then we can kind of splay out those little leaves so that it makes them look more, I guess, realistic, like a little plant. And that will be our little succulent plant. Isn't that so cute? I know it's really hard to see there, but hopefully you can see that. But that's kind of what we're aiming for. Just a cute little plant that has like leafies that are kind of all spread out. All right, then we're also going to take this green and we're going to cut 2 or 3 little leaves to be the little sprout. So I have that, and it's kind of teardrop shape a little bit. And I'm going to do another one that's a little bit smaller. And then a lot of the kids, I only did 2 leaves on my sprout originally, but a lot of kids this week and people that have made it have actually done 3. And they did it like a large, medium, and a small leaf. All right, so now we have our succulent, and then we have our little sprout leaves. All right, now we're going to use the dark green here, and we're going to cut out big leaves for a big leafy green plant. 1. And I'm going to try and get as many as I can out of this dark green paper. 2. And obviously you can see my leaves are not perfect, and that is A-okay. 3. 4. 5. Now I did all of mine kind of the same size. I'm going to do one that's just a little bit smaller than all the rest. And that will be my 6th. All right. And then last plant we're going to do is going to be the curlicue plant. Now to do the curlicue plant, what you're going to do is you're going to cut long and skinny little triangles like that. And I'm probably going to do 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. All right. So there we have all of our little leaves. Okay, so now all the little scraps of green paper we can just push to the side. We're not going to need those again. But you know what? If you want to make different plants, it's totally up to you, my friends. I would show you how I did it, but you should get inspired to do the plants that you love the most. I had some kids in yesterday to make the craft, and they said, "Can we make different plants than you?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, yes." This one little boy, he took his little shelf piece, which is like a half of a cork, and he cut it into little pieces and made tiny little shelves to put all over his greenhouse. It was really cute. So you should make the plants that make the most sense for you. All right, then the other thing you're going to need is a metallic gel pen. I'm going to use a gold gel pen, if I can find my gold gel pen. All right, so now you're gonna take your gold gel pen. In the dark green leaves, we're gonna make the little veins of our leaves. Now, to do that, I'm just gonna do a little line right down the center. That is a vein to me, that works great. A number of kids this week and adults actually added more veining on their big leafy leaves there. You can do whatever kind of leaf vein you love the most. Sometimes if you wanna add more detail, you can, but it's really not required. All right, okay, so now we have all of our leafy greens. All right, so now that we have all our little plant bits and pieces, we are going to work on curling our little curlicue plant. I'm going to use a large pair of scissors, and we're going to curl this like we would normally curl ribbon. So you're just going to grab the pointy end of that, and you're just going to run the scissors across and make it look curly. If it's okay, if you cannot do this, you can always, change the shape. You could do like a little zigzag shape if you wanted to, like a little accordion. You can change your plant and make it whatever you love the most. It's really up to you. I like this technique because it's pretty simple and it goes really fast. All right, now we have all our little curlicues. Okay, so hopefully you plugged in your hot glue gun, but if you haven't, you should plug it in now. And then we're gonna start putting together our little plants. So if you need to wait for your hot glue gun to heat up, you might want to come back or like pause the video and then come back in a few minutes. I plugged mine in the very beginning, so I am ready. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna be putting hot glue on our little shelves. These are little shelves, even though they're like a little half cork piece. So I'm thinking about the different kinds of plants I wanna do. So my little flowers are gonna go in my little bottle of water or vase of water, which is what this is. I have tiny little beads in there, so we're gonna do that. We have our little succulent, which I'm probably gonna put on this shelf. I'm also gonna probably put my little sprout. Oh, where do I want to put everything? I'm going to put my little sprout on this shelf. I'm going to put my leafy green plant into that cork, and I'm going to put my curlicue here next to my succulent. Then on the shelf that has the little sprout, I'm probably also going to put the little light catcher and my little vase of flowers. Okay, so now that I'm all organized, I'm going to grab my hot glue gun. And we're going to bring that on over. Okay, so I'm going to put hot glue just right here on the end. And that's going to make just like a little dollop. You want to make sure that we're not touching the hot glue because no one wants to get burned. You're going to take your little succulent little plant here, and I've curled it up, so I'm just going to set that right on the hot glue like that. Once that dries, I can kind of splay the little leaves out, but I'm going to leave that at the exact moment, leave that to dry. All right, now our little vase of flowers. So again, you have the little clear beads in here. I really don't want this to get knocked over because those little clear beads are kind of difficult to clean up. So I'm going to take hot glue and I'm just going to put a little dollop of hot glue right directly in there. And then I'm going to take my little flowers. Oh gosh, I probably should have prepped this ahead of time. I'm going to take one of my flowers, I'm going to trim it short, and I'm going to stick that in there. And the other one, I'm going to trim it a little bit longer, and then I'm also going to stick that into my little vase of flowers. So cute! Oh my gosh, it is so adorable. The hot glue makes it look kind of watery, but also it locks in all those tiny little beads. Now that that's all set there, I'm going to put a little dot of glue on this shelf on the end, and then I'm going to stick my little vial in place right there. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna do here is we're gonna glue on our little sprout. So the cork that we took out of the little vial looks like this. You can decide to do it this way or this way. If you want it to be large side of the cork up or small side of the cork up, it's really up to you. For the sake of this project, I'm gonna do it small side up, and I'm gonna put on a tiny little dollop of glue on the very top. I know this is where it gets a little bit tedious, but I believe in you guys. And you're gonna start with the large leaf for a little sprout, and you're gonna stick that on. And I know it might take a moment for it to dry, or you can hold it in place while it dries. And then you're gonna do the medium leaf. Oh my gosh, it's falling over. And then you're gonna do the tiny little leaf. Usually what I do is I stick them on the hot glue and then kind of move them around while that glue dries, so that way the leaves stay upright. I know that is a little tedious, but like I said, I believe in you guys. Okay, now we're gonna do that same technique for doing the large leafy plant. We're gonna put a dollop of glue in the center of our little half cork piece. Okay, and then we're going to take, and I'm gonna do the smallest leaf that I cut out last, okay? And I'm gonna start with these. I'm just gonna kind of lay them down, and I'm gonna kind of splay them out as I go. And as the glue dries, I'm gonna kind of pull them up a little bit, and that will allow it to have kind of the leafy plant shape. I know it will take a moment for that glue to dry, but hopefully we can make this happen. So I'm gonna do 3, and then I'm gonna do 4, and I might need to add some more hot glue here, but I might be able to make it work. And then we're gonna do this one. And then I have my smallest little leaf is last. Oh, I might need more glue, but we'll see if we can make it happen. Oh my gosh, I made it happen. All right, so there we have our big leafy plant. Yes, aha! So successful. All right, so we got that. We have our little succulent, we have our sprout, we have our leafy plant, we have our little flower vase. Now we're going to glue on our little light catcher. I'm gonna do this large side of the light catcher down, so the pointy side is up. That way it attracts the light and distributes it. I'm gonna put that right next to my little flower vase. I'm gonna stick that on there. All right, looking good. And now for our big curlicue plant, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a little dollop of glue. I'm gonna kind of put that right there. And then I'm gonna put the thin side of the leaves facing up. And just like we did with our other plants, I'm just gonna set that thicker end down into the hot glue and kind of go all the way around. As the glue dries, I can kind of move the leaves up a little bit to kind of create that sprout kind of look, where it's kind of all sprouting out from the center. All right. Hey, we were able to get all those in there while the glue was still wet. Awesome. Oh gosh. Oh no, everything is moving. Hey, we made it work. Okay, there we are. So we have our little curlicue plant, we have our little succulent. We can splay those little leaves down now so they are kind of out and kind of growing in the way that we want. I know it's so tiny in detail, but hopefully you guys can see what I'm talking about. All right, and now we have our little sprout. So for the little sprout, I'm gonna try to fit that onto one of these little shelves wherever it can fit. I'm gonna put that on the end right here, I think, for our little sprout. Okay, now that we have all of our plants and everything's ready to go, it's time to put our greenhouse together. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna put hot glue on this little tab, and then we're gonna stick this roof on directly on top of that little tab, okay? So we wanna make sure again that we're not hurting ourselves or burning ourselves. We're gonna stick that down. We're gonna stick that right in place, right there. All right, and we're gonna go to the other side. We're gonna do the exact same thing. Hot glue on that little tab, and we're gonna stick the roof in place just like that. All right, so you end up with something that kind of looks like this. Again, I know it's so hard to see that clear roof, but if you're making one with us, then you'll see how cool it looks and how it looks kind of like a real greenhouse, which I just love. Okay, now what we're gonna do here is we have all of this moss inside, and I've given you 4 different kinds of moss. We have the dark green moss, we have the kind of stringy moss in purple, and then the spongy moss. So many different fun options. It's going to be fantastic. So what we're gonna do here is kind of think about your layout. I'll show you what I did, but you can of course do whatever you'd like. I wanna have my little shelves like up on the sides of the little walls. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put hot glue on the wall of where I want my little shelf to be. And then I'm gonna stick my little plant in there, my little plant shelf, and I'm gonna kind of press it up against the side there, and I'm gonna kind of hold it in place while that glue dries, okay? Because I don't want my little shelf to fall. All right, so I'm just gonna press it in there on the side. All right, I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side, but I want the shelf to be maybe a little bit lower. So again, I put hot glue on the wall there, and then I have my other little shelf, and we're gonna stick that in there. Oh gosh, because of the height of my little flower vase, my shelf will not go up on the wall as high as I want, but that's okay. That's not a problem. I can always shift that down. I'm gonna have to move that down just a little bit. So I'll have to add more glue. And it's okay if you kind of are messy with your glue, because we'll cover up all of the hot glue mess with some moss here in just a little bit. So I ended up making my shelf on the ground of my little greenhouse. So we have a shelf on the wall on this side and on the ground on that side. Again, I know it's kind of hard to see, but hopefully you guys can see what I got going on there. All right, now I'm gonna put my big leafy plant right in the middle, because it's such a large plant. If it's too big, then it will hit the top of our greenhouse. I'm gonna actually fold my leaves down just slightly so they have a little bit more room to grow. And I'm gonna stick that on the end right here. And I'm gonna kind of, it might hang out the edge a little bit, but I'm okay with that. All right, so I have some glue down right there in the middle. And now I'm gonna slide my big leafy plant right in there. All right. Okay, now it's just time to glue on the moss. All right, so we're gonna open up our little moss bag here and pull our fun little bits of moss out. You also see these little brown strips over here, and we're gonna glue those down in just a moment. But first we're gonna stick our moss in all of the fun places we want it to be. So I kind of take the moss and kind of break it up just a little bit, so then that way you have these little areas. And then all I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna put down some hot glue. You may wanna grab yourself a little wooden skewer or maybe a toothpick if you happen to have one. And that will be what some of the kids are referring to as the presser. That way you don't put your fingers right through the moss and then burn your finger on the hot glue. So I'm gonna put some hot glue down here, right along the floor of my little greenhouse. And I'm actually gonna put down my dark green moss here, and I'm gonna use my little presser tool, which is AKA our little skewer, down there. That way I don't accidentally burn my fingers on that hot glue, okay? So again, if you don't have it, you can use like maybe a popsicle stick or a stick from outside. You can use anything you want to be the presser tool. That way, again, you don't accidentally burn yourself. So I'm just gonna put down some more moss kind of around that large green leafy plant. That way all of my moss is kind of in place. It's not going anywhere. Oh my gosh. So stringy. Okay, I'm gonna put some glue on the other side. So basically we're just kind of filling in all the little areas where maybe you can see like the cardboard bottom of our little greenhouse. That way it looks like it's all alive, because that's really what we want, is want everything to look alive. All right, I'm gonna put some more moss over there. Okay, now if you had kind of a messy hot glue gun situation, which I did, you may want to use your remaining moss here to kind of cover up some of those more messy areas. So I'm gonna put some hot glue on top of my little mess that I made kind of behind my one shelves when I was thinking about putting it on the wall. And now I'm gonna take some of my other kinds of moss and put them there, and maybe that would be a different kind of plant that is growing, or maybe there's like a little tree or a little bush growing around, or a little light catcher. I mean, who knows? It's totally up to you what you'd like to do there. All right, these little brown strips that are left over, we're gonna glue those on top of the acetate there, the little clear roof piece. So then that way it covers up the glue that you can obviously see on our little roof. So I'm just gonna go ahead and stick that in place. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side, a little line of glue, and then the little cardboard strip will just go right on top of that. All right, now I want my greenhouse to look really alive. And so I'm gonna actually put some moss on the top of my little greenhouse here, and I'm going to use a couple different kinds of moss. I love the stringy green moss because it looks like like they're climbing plants, and they're just like climbing all over the place, which I just love. So we'll add some of those in here too, and I'll put that in there. Oh gosh. All right, and then I'm probably going to put some maybe on this end right here, just to kind of add a little extra. All right, now for this amazing purple climbing plant, again, you can kind of decide where you want to put some of these plants, because this is your little greenhouse. I'm actually going to put some of the purple plant on the inside of my greenhouse, because we're going to say that that's an exotic plant, and I want it kind of to be down there with all my other exotic plants. All right, and there we have it, my friends. I know the moss is a little messy, but it's fine. And we now have our cute little greenhouse. Look at how adorable this is, friends. Oh my gosh, I am so happy with this cute little greenhouse. I hope you love yours too. Thanks for joining me for the craft, friends. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.